All right, let's jump right into this explainer and really demystify exactly what happens after an initial cultural transformation. You've put in the hard work, you've completely overhauled your organization's environment over this massive 90-day push, and, well, everyone's feeling great. But here is the absolute critical question. What actually comes next? How do you make sure that the culture you've just built actually lasts? So today, we're going to unpack the architecture of cultural sustainability, looking directly at the systems and the structures you absolutely need to keep your culture from slipping backward.
And we've got to start with a stark wake-up call. 60%, literally 60% of culture initiatives fail within 12 months, simply because there is no maintenance plan. Think about that for a second. More than half of all organizations that invest immense time and resources into fixing their culture end up right back where they started within a single year. And it's not because their initial 90-day transformation was bad, no. It is entirely because they treated that transformation as a finish line rather than a starting line.
Which brilliantly illustrates our core framework for today. You really can't just fix culture once and then forget about it. Building a resilient organizational culture is exactly like going to the gym. 90 days of intense boot camp? Yeah, that will absolutely get you fit, and you'll probably be pretty sore, but you will feel the change. But if you stop going to the gym on day 91, what happens? You lose the fitness. You have to keep exercising to maintain it. Well, culture works precisely the same way. So here is our roadmap for the explainer, taking you from that initial challenge all the way to ultimate self-sufficiency. We'll quickly cover the sustainability challenge, the embedding phase, audits and long-term maintenance, when to fully re-engage, and finally, achieving self-sufficiency.
Starting off with Section 1, the sustainability challenge, and why we need to look at culture as living infrastructure.
The absolute crucial point here is that culture is living infrastructure. I honestly love this phrase. It's not some software program you just install and leave running in the background. It is a living, breathing set of behaviors, protocols, and interactions that require ongoing care. So this means the initial 90-day transformation you just went through is literally just the beginning of the journey. It's laying the foundation. But the true test of leadership, that's how you maintain the house you've just built.
Moving right along to Section 2, the embedding phase, which covers those vital months 4 to 6.
To prevent any sort of cultural backslide, you need a complete long-term workout plan. And it breaks down into 3 distinct phases. Phase 1 is the embedding phase, right there from months 4 through 6. Phase 2 is a sustainability audit, covering the rest of your first year. And Phase 3 is a long-term maintenance model for year 2 and beyond. Let's zoom in on that critical first step right after your initial boot camp.
During those critical months 4 through 6, which, by the way, are actually included in the initial 90-day engagement just to guarantee a smooth handoff, we follow some really precise steps to catch issues before they metastasize. First, we do monthly 60-minute leadership coaching calls. And during these calls, we are diving into the hard data. We review key metrics, like what is happening with turnover, what about absenteeism, productivity. By tracking all of these, we can troubleshoot emerging issues early on and adjust your cultural protocols based on real-world feedback rather than just relying on theory.
Now, what's really fascinating here are the specific real-world red flags we are actively hunting for during those coaching calls. We're looking for old habits creeping back, like managers suddenly reverting to micromanagement the second the pressure is on. We're watching for new stressors, like market shifts, regulatory pressure, or maybe a massive industry disruption. And crucially, we are keeping a very close eye on key personnel changes. Like if a new executive comes in who just doesn't understand the cultural framework you literally just built, that can immediately destabilize your living infrastructure. These are the early warning signs of culture drift.
All right, Section 3, audits and long-term maintenance. Let's look at what happens from month 7 onwards.
So, at month 6, you have the option for a full-day on-site sustainability audit. Basically, we rerun a simplified version of our initial diagnostics, compare the results to your baseline metrics, identify any erosion, and provide a 30-day refresh plan if it's actually needed. And the financial contrast between preventative maintenance and a complete system failure here is just staggering. An optional sustainability audit costs £5,000. Ignoring your culture until it breaks down completely and requires a full re-engagement, well, that costs £45,000. It's preventative maintenance, pure and simple. For year 2 and beyond, this optional maintenance model acts as your ongoing corporate gym membership. You have quarterly 90-minute remote check-ins for £1,500. Or you can opt for a larger annual on-site refresh at £8,000. But notice those last two items: ongoing access to updated tools and frameworks as they improve, and priority response in crisis situations. Those are completely included. It provides absolute peace of mind that if things start to wobble, you have priority expert intervention ready to go.
Which brings us to Section 4, when to fully re-engage. Because sometimes maintenance just isn't quite enough. We only initiate a full 90-day reimplementation under very specific, high-stakes scenarios where the foundational systems need a complete overhaul. I mean, this isn't for a minor slip-up. This is for major organizational changes, like a merger, a massive restructure, or bringing in a completely new executive team. It's triggered if you're expanding into new markets and you need cultural replication at scale. It's triggered by significant industry disruption that basically alters how work actually gets done. Or purely by the numbers. If your metrics show more than a 15% degradation from your baseline, that is the hard data trigger that tells us the entire system needs a reboot.
Finally, Section 5, achieving self-sufficiency. This is the ultimate goal.
The entire goal here is to make you self-sufficient, not dependent. And I really want you to see how this translates to the real world. By month 6, your team should be running most of this internally, just like these highly successful examples across different industries. In retail, area managers are out there conducting their own quarterly mini audits. In legal services, HR business partners are independently running onboarding using established psychological safety protocols. And in the NHS, ward sisters are successfully maintaining workload distribution models without any outside involvement whatsoever.
The whole point of good consulting is to give you the tools, the training, and the absolute confidence to perform these critical functions without external dependency. By sticking to the maintenance plan, you learn to run your own culture pulse checks, you seamlessly onboard new managers into the system, you troubleshoot minor issues internally, and you learn exactly how to adapt the frameworks to brand new departments. Creating dependency where you just can't function without outside help, honestly, that's just bad consulting. Now, the reality is that the level of ongoing support depends entirely on your internal capacity, your headcount, and your strategic goals. Small organizations, meaning under 200 people, usually go fully independent after month 6. They just have the agility to manage it. Medium organizations, up to 1,000 people, often choose to keep the quarterly check-ins for a little bit of structural support. And large organizations, the ones with over 1,000 employees, typically opt for those larger annual refreshes just to ensure their massive systems stay perfectly aligned.
But this is the ultimate takeaway. You are building a system that belongs entirely to your organization. The goal is to give you absolutely everything you need to sustain what was built together. We are available when you genuinely need expert intervention, but the daily operation, the monitoring, and the ongoing fitness of your culture, you own this forever.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really crucial question to ask yourself and your leadership team today. If we ran a diagnostic right now, what is the current fitness level of your organization's living infrastructure? Are you actively working out, or have you stopped going to the gym? It is time to take an honest look at your maintenance plan. Start assessing your cultural fitness today.
Ready to fix this? Book a strategy call. Link in description. I pre-qualify every applicant.